It is currently 25 degrees with a real feel of 12 degrees where I live. We're having 20-mile-an-hour constant wind with wind gusts up to 40 miles an hour. It is freezing cold right now, and we're gonna cook on a griddle. Now, coming from someone who has had the Camp Chef griddle and a Blackstone griddle, having used the Halo griddle in the wintertime is a whole nother level. No more do I need to preheat the griddle on low, which in temperatures and wind like this would take forever, if at all. And trust me, I love my Camp Chef griddle, but the griddle top of this is made of hot rolled steel, not cold rolled steel. So what you're gonna see is a difference, is a much closer comparison to cast iron. And we don't need to preheat on low to have an even distribution of heat so that our griddle top won't warp on us. We can rip it right on high and get this thing preheated in 10 minutes. That is incredible for a griddle. You can do that because you can preheat it on high, and you can preheat it on high with the lid closed, which is just a dynamic change to the griddling world. Now, there is one caveat to that. When you're preheating on high and you have the lid down, just kind of keep an eye on it. If you see a lot of smoke coming up, you don't want to let it get too hot under there, because then it could scorch your seasoning. So just want to keep an eye on it. 8 to 10 minutes, it's gonna be ripping hot enough to start cooking. But this griddle can actually cook with the lid down. Another big thing with this is you don't have to make any modifications or buy any other additional parts to shield your griddle from the wind, to keep your burners on, number one, but also to keep that wind from making the heat dissipate so quickly. The griddle is actually set inside the grill, so that's going to keep it safer from the wind, from blowing out our flames. And our flames are in a figure-8 pattern, and there's actually 8 burners in this 2-burner griddle. Now, I used to have the 4-burner Camp Chef and the 4-burner Blackstone. The 2-burner Halo is just perfect to replace both of those for me. It's got way more real estate than I ever expected a 2-burner griddle to have. And quite honestly, with the heat that this thing can generate up to 700 degrees is amazing for searing steaks, which you're gonna enjoy today. But we're actually gonna be doing some giant 1.5-inch thick, beautiful Delmonico steaks. We're gonna be cooking one of my favorite, it's gonna sound funny, delicacies on a griddle, but frozen French fries. Just wait, they are incredible on a griddle. And quite honestly, is the best way to prepare frozen French fries is on a griddle like this. And we gotta have it a little bit healthy. We're gonna do some Brussels sprouts. My favorite way to make Brussels sprouts is on the griddle. They are just better on the griddle, and I'm gonna show you how I do it. Woo, that one was cold. Oh God. And I'm gonna show you how I do it using the Halo 2-burner griddle. Let's get dinner ready. Now, when I'm making steaks and I got my griddle just about preheated, like I'm right about to put my steaks on, I get a cast iron skillet with some butter and some crushed garlic, and I throw it right in the back. Now, one thing that I definitely like to do when I have the time to really think about it is I salt my steaks really heavily. Like, salt your steaks as if you would salt a sidewalk if you lived in Erie, Pennsylvania, one of the snowiest cities in the country. So that's the area that I live in, and if you can, salt them 2 hours ahead of time and put them on a wire rack like this and stick them in the fridge to let the salt draw out the moisture and then let it soak back in. One cool thing about this coat, it's meant for like someone who likes to carry a gun in their like concealed carry. Like, it's got a holster in here, but I like to put my favorite seasonings inside of it. This Crawford's burnt beef rub has absolutely been one of my favorite seasonings as of late, and I just like to give it a little dusting on the steaks before I put them on. Okay, look, our butter's already getting there. Now, first thing we're gonna do, get a nice big layer of oil down. Now, I'm not cooking on a level surface because I moved the griddle out onto the driveway for this test, so that's why the oil just runs like crazy. So let's get our steaks on the griddle and give them a little extra dusting of the burnt beef rub. Oh my God, everything's just blowing all around. Okay, now remember when I told you about those French fries? The frozen French fries that you want to get are these Ore-Ida extra crispy fast food fries. I have tried several different brands and several different styles of frozen French fries on the griddle, and these are the absolute best. They are incredible, and they're pretty much available everywhere. And now, since these steaks are so thick, I like to give these steaks about 1 to 2 minutes on the griddle before I go ahead and add the French fries. And just for a point of reference, our griddle is sitting at about 400 degrees all across the surface right now. So just dump the bag of frozen French fries on your griddle, spread around evenly a little bit, and then you want to douse them in oil. Get enough oil so that it kind of pools all around them, and then season them liberally with salt and pepper. And just kind of spread them around the griddle so that all the fries are touching the griddle as best as you can. After about 4 to 5 minutes on one side, let's go ahead and check this sear, and it is gorgeous. We want wall-to-wall coverage of a sear because that is 100% flavor. Go ahead and flip them to the other side and press them down into the griddle. And now we're gonna take that melted butter and garlic. Feel free to add some thyme or rosemary in there too if you want. We've just had this cast iron pan just sitting in the warming rack, keeping the butter melted for us. That's also a fantastic feature of this griddle. And now just take a big giant spoon and give a big helping of butter on top of each steak. And we're not necessarily basting here, we're just kind of basically adding a butter flavor to the top to let it cook through the steak. And then we're gonna use that butter garlic to let that go right into our French fries. But even better, we're going to throw our shaved Brussels sprouts into that butter garlic mixture and beef fat mixture to cook those. And when you cut your Brussels sprouts, remove the root end and just cut them as thin as possible. And this is what's considered a shaved Brussels sprout. This is my absolute favorite way to cook Brussels sprouts. They get perfectly crispy, perfectly cooked through, and so full of flavor. And we're done. Now we're gonna let our steaks rest. Now I like to pull my steaks at around 125 degrees internal. Okay, now check out these French fries. They're perfectly golden brown, super crispy on the outside while super tender on the inside, and so full of flavor because we basically just cooked them in that oil, salt, and pepper, but also the butter and garlic mixture with beef fat. So it's got all the flavors from the griddle, which is why I absolutely love cooking French fries on the griddle, because you just gather all those flavors from everything else that you're cooking. And then check out these Brussels sprouts. I love how Brussels sprouts get charred on the griddle surface. And like I keep saying it over and over again, but this is just my favorite way to cook Brussels sprouts. After about 5 minutes, let's go ahead and give these steaks a cut. We do have a gorgeous, gorgeous sear. And look at that. That is just perfect medium rare, wall to wall. No gray on the top, no gray on the bottom. It's just a perfect wall to wall medium rare done on the griddle. And it's just so tender, it just pulls right apart. If you want to add some extra flavor to your Brussels sprouts to take them to a whole other level, add a couple chunks of goat cheese. Griddle French fries. They're perfect. Dude, you can't make frozen French fries better. It's the best way to do it on a griddle. That's true. I'm still wearing my coat because I'm still frozen to the core. But my food isn't, so that's nice. Brussels sprouts with a piece of goat cheese. That's just a great consistency. You get the flavor of the Brussels sprouts with the, oh, and I put a little bit of lemon in the Brussels sprouts too, with the creaminess of the goat cheese. It's just delicious. Give them a try and bite of the steak. That seasoning is dynamite, and I just used a tiny little bit of it. I hope you give griddling a try in the wintertime, no matter what griddle you have, but it is easier on the Halo griddle. It is a monster of a griddle, and they have made a fantastic one. As always, I appreciate you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.